Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the OathCast. I, of course, am your host, Oath Alliance, and today I am doing a deconstruction of Polygon's newest article on Gamergate, a letter from the editor. Now, before we get started, just want to go ahead and just go over what I'd like to see going on, which is I haven't actually read through this at all, so we'll see where it goes. But for this, at least, what I'm hoping, crossing my fingers for, what I'd like to see is just that the editor would go ahead and just say, hey guys, we're sorry that we were involved in things that were considered unethical. Maybe an apology for painting us gamers and people of Gamergate as, I don't know, misogynistic woman haters, and sort of being all around giant jerks, and not painting us as all misogynistic, woman hating people. So that's sort of my hope, at least in this. Anyways, so without further ado, going to go ahead and start this deconstruction here. Let's see how it goes. Alright, there we go. Got the article here on Gamergate from the editor by Christopher Grant, at Chris Grant. Let's go ahead and take a moment. Let's just see. All of this is... Alright, this is Chris Grant right here. So he is apparently the guy who wrote this, which I'd assume that if he wrote it, he's probably the editor of Polygon, not Kotaku. So, alright, back to Polygon. So, Christopher Grant, actually, let's go ahead and just take a look at his work profile. And doesn't actually give us too much information. He just apparently recommends a lot of stuff. Yeah, no. Well, not sure who this guy is still. But whoever he is, let's go ahead and start. Over the last few months, we've seen many people, some of them friends, some of them colleagues, some of them professional acquaintances, harassed, threatened, bullied for daring to suggest that video games can and should be better. Not really. What does better mean? Because remember that one, kissing or killing? That one, yeah. That one honestly was, all about making video games better, because by pressing buttons, you are identifying with the capacity or the capability. So if you press a button to kill someone in a game, you're going to do it in real life. But whatever. It's no coincidence that many of these people, award-winning writers, professional game developers, strong-minded critics, are women. Award-winning writers? Question mark? Professional game developers? Okay, you made a game that made money. Or does it just mean that you need to make a game? Because I made a game, actually, for the Madame Dare, like a few months ago. And so, does that make me a professional game developer, or what? Strong-minded critics. Well, you can be strong-minded and be completely off base. But who cares? And coincidence that many, how many people are we talking about in many? 20? 60? 100? It's gotta be a lot. Because obviously, it's not like one or two of them. There's gotta be dozens and dozens and dozens of these people who are getting attacked, and they're all women. aren't they? Unified by the belief that video games aren't perfect. Well, that's a lot of people. Because, let's face it, you don't have to be a woman to think that video games aren't perfect. Because if they were perfect, well, then they would all get 10s. You know, just like a game that wasn't perfect that got 10s on here. Anyways, moving on. The audacity of this belief has prompted an alarming wave of hatred that has snowballed until finally, perhaps inevitably, it reached the front page of the New York Times. No, I'm not going to argue that it didn't reach the front page of the New York Times. But hatred? Whoa, wait. Hatred. Let's go look that word up. Hatred. Hatred. The feeling of one who hates. Hate. To dislike intentionally. Intensely or passionately. Feel extreme aversion for or extreme hostility towards. Detest. No, in that case, you know. I hate a lot of things. I hate a lot of things. But mainly because, you know, some things deserve to be hated. If nothing deserved to be hated, well then, you know, everything would be perfect? I don't know. But moving on at least. Alright. As significant as a milestone for mainstreaming awareness as there is, it would appear that gaming on the cusp of mainstream acceptance. I thought we already got there. Didn't they earn like over $100 billion last year? That's just gaming on its own. $100 million. That's a lot of money. You know, that's like oil industry money. It's way up there. So I would say mainstream acceptance. Supreme Court victory in hand has traded in the stereotype of the violent loner for the violent misogynist. Proof that we were violent, like anything. Proof. So it's a stereotype. Okay, so stereotypes are bad, right? Isn't that the thing that people like you purport? Stereotypes harm people and do damage. So, but violent misogynist. Has anyone been killed yet? Have we had beatings in the streets? I have yet to see roving gangs of gamers out at night. My mom has never told me, don't go out at night. There's roving gangs of gamers out there. I don't want you getting involved with them because they're going to go and get you to beat up women. Because misogyny is about... Let's go straight to here, dictionary.com. A person who hates, dislikes, or mistreats women. Well, I'm not a misogynist, so I don't think too many people in the gaming area are that way. And violent misogynists, yes, we are all gamers. Are now the stereotype of gamers is not we do school shootings. Now we are rape gangs. That's what we do. Under the headline, Feminist Critics of Video Games Facing Threats, New York Times writer Nick Wingfield details the threats against Tropes vs. Women creator Anita Sarkeesian, Giant Space Cat studio head Brianna Wu, and independent developer Zoe Quinn. You know, I've just got a counter for this, actually, really simply here. Let's see here. Somewhere in here. Gotta look through these. I think it's this one. Nope. Oh, here we go. Hi, Professor blank, Department of blank, is it? Or should I call you GG Feminist? You honestly think you can post your ID card and no one's going to figure out who the fuck you are? Maybe it's time to call the CU police for online harassment. or send a friendly letter to blank to let them know what a self-hating fucker you are? Question mark. No, I think it's time to just shove something metal and sharp in the closed-up cunt of yours and twist. Stop posting this Gamergate bullshit. End your account and get therapy, or any and all of the listed above is going to happen. Fuck you. Oh, only 3, women, Oh, it's only these, the threats made against Anita Sarkeesian and Space Cat Studio head Brianna Wu and Zoe Quinn. Yep, but no one else. Apparently, only 3 women have been attacked out of this. Because, here we are, a roving gang of violent misogynists. But we could only get around to attacking 3 women. What are we doing? I feel like we're missing something. What is it that gamers are doing that's keeping us from taking out, lots of women? Because I'm sure there's more than one woman who's spoken up on this issue. So why aren't all of them being hit? Oh, maybe it's because, it's not that gamers hate women? Question mark? It was Quinn's relationship with a video game journalist, as revealed in an angry tell-all posted by an ex-boyfriend, the relationship being a supposed ethics breach that was later debunked. No, I would say that the relationship was, in a way, an ethical issue, because it was something that was unreported, and even if he never wrote anything on it, he was still attached to the gaming press, which means that, he could help her later on. Just because nothing happened quite yet doesn't mean that nothing did, and how are we supposed to know? I mean, the only way we know nothing happened was because the guy said, oh, we didn't do anything. So, obviously, that's totally trustworthy and honest, but whatever. Anyways, that not only kicked off this wave of hatred, but also its complementary movement focused ostensibly on ethics in game journalism. Hatred. Again, this word hatred. Hatred against who? Who? You don't even say who it's hating against. I would say most of the hate's going against the people we found out that, were involved in this. Or how about how, people on, I believe it was Polygon, donating to a developer. Something that is an unethical practice. But don't let the facts stop you. The movement became known as Gamergate, thanks to branding efforts of one Mr. Adam Baldwin, an actor who, despite being not an avid gamer, was happy to lend his soapbox to the campaign. Oh, maybe he doesn't like, corruption in journalism. Oh, dear heaven help us. He hates unethical journalism, and we've been caught with our hand in the cookie jar. And so he started this. This is where Polygon becomes a part of the story and my ability to be objective starts to wane. Then recuse yourself. Please, just stop talking about this then. You've been indicted as part of a corrupt scheme. Recuse yourself and save yourself face, because I tell you this is not going to go anywhere good. It's hard to not get defensive when told your outlet is being singled out for rampant corruption and an alarming lack of ethics by a largely anonymous mob screaming over each other, hastily defining exactly what ethical breaches they found most alarming. journalists contributing exceedingly small sums to an independent game developers via Patreon was highlighted as a particularly egregious failure of the game press. I didn't agree. And still don't. Oh, sorry, dude, but, you know, apparently a professor of game freaking journalism ethics disagrees with you. So, I don't know where you went to get your degree, but apparently you didn't learn it right. Because that was a breach in ethics. And that's not just one random guy saying, hey, I think that's not okay. That is someone who teaches people journalistic ethics. You can find it on YouTube. I'm not sure I can dig it up or something later. Anyways. But also didn't seem the harm in disclosing that information to the public when applicable, which wasn't often. You know, maybe you shouldn't do it at all. Maybe you shouldn't, you know, give money for people to live, not to make games, not to, you know, buy their product, but simply to exist. You are paying them money. And thus began a journey of good faith efforts met with what else? Harassment. What is harassment? I want to look up the legal definition of harassment. Legal definition of, oh look, harassment, right there. Alright, harassment, ooh, law, U.S. legal, here we go. Alright. A person is guilty of harassment in the first degree when he or she intentionally and repeatedly harasses another person by following such a person in or about public places, is engaging in a course of conduct by repeating conveying acts which places such person in reasonable fear of physical injury. Not too full on that. Harassment in second degree, intent to harass, annoy, or alarm the person he strikes, shoves, kicks, otherwise subjects the person to physical contact. Nope. Follows the person in about public places. No. Course of conduct repeatedly commits acts which alarm or seriously annoy other person. Serve no legitimate purpose, like a conversation, would not fall under the no legitimate purpose, because it serves a purpose. Let's see here. Aggravated harassment. That doesn't help us too much. But pretty much it's suffice to say that if it serves no purpose, then, well, I would say that probably not using harassment in the correct way. Of course, this whole thing didn't begin with ethics. When demands for the proto-Gamergate crowd to cover the Quinn controversy got louder, we discussed the topic internally. We debated its newsworthiness. It turns out we didn't always agree. But it was the Society of Professional Journalists Code of Ethics that ultimately helped me make the decision to decline coverage of what is called a conspiracy. Because, and I can tell you what he's going to do, he's probably going to say that it would hurt her. And I will prove that they don't feel a real big reason about that. Ethical journalism treats sources, subjects, colleagues, and members of the public as human beings deserving of respect. The code reads under the heading of minimize harm. Journalists should, it continues, balance the public's need for information against potential harm or discomfort. Pursuit of the news is not a license for arrogance or undue intrusiveness. Well, it's already brought to light, so you couldn't really get any more intrusive than that. Show compassion for those who may be affected by news coverage. And this is where I'm going to take a pause for a moment, and I should have... Oh, yes. Anyone remember Brad Wardell? Oh, yes, he is the CEO of... What? Oh, Stardock. And there was a Polygon article, funny enough, written about him being sued for, actually that's not what I want, being sued for, no, it's Kotaku, actually, sorry, not Polygon, but Kotaku, apparently, that went ahead and filed a sexual assault or something like that, as some sort of sexual harassment suit against Brad Wardell, and it was written about and it was put on online, and apparently they felt no qualms about putting Brad Wardell's information out there and saying, oh look, he's involved in a sexual harassment suit. But Zoe Quinn, who has been found out to be having sex with someone in the news media, and actually found out having sex with people also in the game development area. So something of at least some, relevance to it all. No, we don't want to accidentally hurt her in any way, shape, or form. Why didn't you say that before with Brad? Or are you just sexist? I really want to know. What, did it ever come to your mind we shouldn't do it? Because we know you're colluding on the Game Journos Pro list for quite some time, so why didn't you ever, talk about not doing anything to Brad? I don't know. I don't really know. Anyways, this is the same SPJ ethics code that would be shared under the Gamer8 hashtag as a model to follow, and an example of the failures of the more progressive ends of the video game press. So wait, you just are admitting that you have progressive ends. Oh yeah, no bias there at all. Huh. Oh, no bias at all. The same one that reads, boldly tell the story of diversity and magnitude of the human experience. Seek out sources whose voices we seldom hear. Yeah, if they're doing something useful, then talk about them. If they're doing nothing useful, then don't. And be honest about it. Don't give us things like the Gone Home review, which we know there were connections between the developer and the person who reviewed it, and there was never anything. The person didn't recuse themselves, and also they gave a freaking 10 out of 10. A game which you can beat in, 40 seconds? 10 out of 10. It's amazing! Call of Duty Ghosts? Oh, it's not 10 out of 10. I don't know, did like All Reason just walk out of the room a few years ago? But under the same hashtag, we've met accusations of corruption because our review of Bayonetta 2 had the audacity to treat it like a cultural artifact and not simply a toy. A cultural artifact. Is it an artifact? Artifacts are usually old or something. But your Bayonetta 2 review pretty much said the reason why you're docking it is not because there's bugs in the system or the game's clunky or something like that. You pretty much said because it has a woman who can strip down, and also it's something we do not, the reviewer didn't feel was pro-woman, I guess. Pro-feminism. I'm going to say that. Pro-feminism. That's no reason. People aren't going to read your... I don't read reviews going, oh, does it agree with my worldview? If I really want to know, if someone's a Christian, they're going to go to a Christian review site. But the question is are they going there for... They're probably going there to find out probably some Christian things. What does it have in relation to Christian? But, you're not a Christian news site, and you're not feminist in gaming. That's not the name of your site. You sell yourself as this major publication of we're here for all gamers, so why don't you tell what all gamers would be interested in, which is simply how the game is. The solution: convince Nintendo to blacklist us for our impotence. No, just silence you from their reviewing process because your voice is apparently very biased. Under the same hashtag, we're met with coordinated campaigns to strip us of our advertising. Absolutely A-okay. Pointing to criticism of advertisers like Intel. Yeah. Because you attacked, I believe that you guys did, attack Intel for pulling for Gamma Sutra. So, how would you like to be if you're Intel and people said, hey, this group is totally attacking your customer base, and Intel's like, whoa, that doesn't sound good. We're going to pull our campaign off of there because we don't want to be involved in anything like that. And then suddenly someone, over here, another website that you may be going ahead and actually putting ads on goes, hey, look at that advertiser. Yeah, they hate women. Let's see here. The same SPJ Code of Ethics states, deny favored treatments to advertisers, donors, or any other special interests, and resist internal and external pressure to influence coverage. Like, I don't know. Oh yeah, feminism. Oh, oh, we're totally unbiased. Oh look, we're totally for feminism. Internal and external pressures to influence coverage. Yes, we'll give good coverage to Gone Home because it's for feminine, it's for gays and stuff. But we'll give Bayonetta 2, which has a woman protagonist, a strong female protagonist. Oh my goodness, it has a strong female protagonist whose the creator of Bayonetta is a female. No, that's just sexist and misogyny work there. To rectify these so-called ethical breaches would be in direct violation of widely accepted journalistic standards, like criticism free from corporate oversight and the freedom to critique one's own advertisers. And you know what those advertisers have? They have a right to remove their advertisement from you if they do not believe that you support the customer base that they want, or that you attack them. Then they have every reason to pull from you, because you do not deserve the money. They do not have to come and beg you for ad space. You ask them. You say, look, it's a beneficial thing. We get money from you, and you get advertising space on a site that gets a lot of views. But they have every right to pull it from you. And they have every right to listen to their customer base when they say you do not support them. They say they want an ethics code. Okay, we had that ready at launch and update it when appropriate. Yeah, like, oh, we won't give to Patreon. But let's go ahead and see. Transparency, let's go ahead and take a look at this. So, all forums, so it looks like this was posted in forums, not actually in the place. So, how is this helpful? Anyways, I'm not going to read it through all of this, but it looks like, for the most part, that they're talking about a review event in San Francisco, released by Microsoft. Reviewers played retail, cloud maintains unlock process. So it looks like he's just It's a background thing. It's not a I don't really understand, but whatever. Review event. So looks like they're just talking about the events they went to review these games. Congratulations. Are you going to start putting disclaimers in? They say they want objective game reviews. Well, that doesn't make any sense. Why not? Why don't you rate games based upon their merit, like what they have? Does this game work? Yes, it does. Is its gameplay hard to grasp and maintain? That's slightly subjective, but not, because generally people have this general sense of what it is, is it hard? But if you say, I do not like this game because it has the color blue in it, and I despise the color blue, then, you know what? Maybe you're not cut out for reviewing games. Or at least a game where, let's say the game is Bluefield is the name of the game. Because you're not going to be objective, you're going to be absolutely biased. And that doesn't seem any reason. They say they want politics out of video game coverage. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. By politics, the voices calling for ethics reform really mean progressive politics. No, I would like to say any politics. I actually not even politics, but also politics and religion, because you're a mainstream site. So don't put in things revolving around Islam, Christianity, Judaism, or anything with regards to conservative, democratic, Republican. Just stay away from all of those things. But the thing is the reason why you're dropping on that progressive politics is because, it happens to be the narrative you've been pushing this entire time. But we'll continue on. The so-called corruption that needs to be rooted out is the focus on quote-unquote diversity and the quote-unquote magnitude of the human experience. It should be no surprise that the outlets and voices specifically targeted by Gamergate are progressive. Maybe that's because the progressive news outlets are corrupt. Maybe there's a correlation. Maybe when these news sites became progressive, they started to become corrupt. Maybe if these news sites didn't care about being progressive and just cared about, putting the news out there, maybe they wouldn't be corrupt, and maybe we wouldn't have this problem. And we're not saying you can't be progressive. We're just saying put it in the freaking editorials. I mean, it's pretty easy. This is an editorial, therefore it's based upon opinion. And then, okay, now you can talk about your kissing and killing stuff, and there you go. But we can still ridicule you for writing stupid pieces. But the problem is you're taking your editorials and you're sticking them into game reviews. I don't read game reviews to find out whether or not you feel like women were objectified or not in the game review. I just want to know if the game's worth buying. I don't need it to be, told, don't buy this game because women are objectified in it. It may be the best game ever, but you go, oh, there's women who are objectified. Or, oh, here we go. Oh, you give Minecraft a low score because you can only play as one character to start with. And what's the character's name? Oh, Steve. Oh my goodness, not a female main character. Oh, the headache. Just this giant migraine in my mind. Please. The sniveling and the crying is just driving me insane in this. Baldwin was the first of several notable opportunists who, despite caring little for video games or video game culture, were more than happy to contribute to a movement that counted SJWs, that's social justice warriors, for those of you out of the loop, as enemies. Maybe because, as I've seen, they're absolutely insane. I mean, not all of them are insane. I think a lot of them just don't really think through what they're saying. But for those higher up ones, they're just nuts. I mean, you've got people way up on the, on your way far side saying that normal sexual intercourse is rape. And it's not natural, and it shouldn't be done. But Even then, absolutely crazy. The social justice warrior is considered a pejorative at all, speaks volumes about the motivations behind much of Gamergate and its fixation on progressive voices. Because, you know, you're the crazy ones pushing this stupid corruption. If Gamergate simply wants a conservative counter to what they consider a left-leaning gamer press, I think that's great. You know, let me go back here. Alright, here we go. Gamergate political compass. Obviously, we must all wait. Oh, look, we're 90%. Okay, maybe not 90%. Probably more like 70% of this falls into left libertarian. I'm over here. Like, I'm one of these spots right here. But look at this. See this giant piece right here, dude? That's the people who you're talking to and about. So apparently they're not all conservative nutwings wanting a conservative counter. That's healthy. You don't have to like the way we or any other outlet cover video games. If you truly believe there's an army of people who reject progressive voices and outlets like Polygon and Kotaku, or who would prefer coverage just about the games, then I'd encourage you to start a news site for those readers. There's no easier or better time to do it. Except, you know, when you guys are over on the other side saying gamers are misogynistic hate mongers who hate women and, you know, comparing us to, you know, well, some of you, not all of you, have compared Gamergate to ISIS. So, or, you know, in the case of Gawker, they had one of their guys going, hey, bring back bowling, because that's cool. Yeah, no. Ain't okay. But by the same token, if you believe video games are an art form, that video games are important, that video games actually mean something, then demand for silence couldn't be less effective tactic for promoting those beliefs. We're not saying we want to silence you, we're simply saying you do not get to profit off of us, and we're letting your advertisers know that what you guys are actually saying about gamers. See, the problem is not that people like Polygon here have said, oh, you know, have brought in progressive people. It's a flagrant total corruption. Like the fact that, I don't know, that you allowed someone who had been friends with a developer to review their game and then give it a 10 out of 10 and not go, this game is pretty shallow. Man. And so you complain that we're complaining about, you know, objective reviews, but you're like, well, don't silence us. Well, then don't say that we can't tell your advertisers. We're not silencing you. If you want to do it for free, go ahead. There's many people who do things for free. I wrote an entire review for a game for free. You can do it for free. Despite our extensive coverage of harassment in the video game world, including a widely read piece by Brianna Wu, we haven't spoken out against Gamergate until now. Well, congratulations. We covered the more egregious examples of harassment mentioned above. We spoke to police departments and victims, but we didn't condemn the banner under which much of this hatred flew. Yeah, because you can tie it all back to Gamergate. Where is it? There should be links. I mean, you gave a link right here, but where's the rest? And when inclusion in said mob is exactly 10 strokes away from anyone with the Twitter account, Gamergate, it's not only hard, but actually impossible to distill that mob's wishes down to any one thing. I can simply tell you what everyone is pulled together for, which is ethical journalism. And we're still finding out all of your dirty laundry. So we didn't. We were, and I specifically was, paralyzed by indecision. How do you condemn a mob without drawing attention to that same mob? You know, maybe just come out and say we're against harassment, but we're for ethical journalism. There, you're done. End of story. For many of our staff, myself included, Gamergate presented enough of a perceived danger that we were scared for ourselves and our families. Yes, because we have already established in this entire thing that there are roving gangs of gamers out around the town, beating up and murdering and raping anyone they find. We've already proven that. I can walk down the street and I can probably find a roving gang of gamers walking around, murdering, raping, mugging, pillaging. They're like the Vikings, for heaven's sakes. They come out with those little horned hats of theirs, going video games, and then they attack anyone they see who may not agree with them. Notable fact I remind myself of often, there are 14 children among the Polygon staff, including 2 of them the age of 1. Congratulations. I feel nothing, actually, because I don't see perceived danger. What does perceived danger means? You know, let's just go ahead and look up what perceived means. Merriam-Webster: to notice or become aware of, to think of as something being stated. So, enough of a we thought there would be a danger that we were scared for ourselves and our family. Oh, ye great moral warriors. Ye great moral warriors. If you're afraid of people attacking you, I suggest you buy a gun. You know, that they break into your house, you shoot them, they're dead. End of story. You know, if you're actually fearful for your life or something. If you consider yourself a Gamergate moderate and are generally concerned with ethics in journalism, then I have some perhaps surprising news for you. You'd be hard-pressed to find a more interested party than the game press itself. Sure. Because you guys haven't, you know, called us names, called us a hate group, things like that. And it's not like Polygon, you yourself have stated that there are roving gangs of violent gamers out there just waiting to find your houses and murder you. Topics of ethics and disclosure were frequently discussed on the Games Journo's Pro message board, of which I was a member. Disagreements were often the norm. Enough people had differing view that someone shared the board's contents with a particularly one-sided journalist who proceeded to publish the unedited logs with email signatures and phone numbers for some members intact. Don't be involved in bad things, that's all I can really say. Are critics of the list aware that the journalists have conspired in this way for literally over a century? Which is not okay! It's not okay. Just, you can't absolve yourself of any wrongdoing. Well, don't mind the fact that I stole from you, because there's other people stealing from you as well. You know, officer, don't arrest me because I murdered someone, because there are other murderers out there murdering people. And if they've been doing this for centuries, so why can't I get away with it? Why is it that I can't get away with it? You know, I'm just going to talk about this for a moment. In this wonderful article here, Gamergate, Destructoid, Corruption, and Ruined Careers, it pretty much talks about a guy named Alistair Pinsoff, who was a former writer for Destructoid. But he went ahead and published something when he was looking into a scam on Indiegogo. And when he tried to figure out, should I run the story or not, he was told by his fellow workers, sure, go ahead. So he put it out there. And the outcry was so great that he was attacked and Destructoid was attacked and Destructoid put him on suspension. And then the Destructoid, the guy in charge of Destructoid, went on to Game Journals Pro, Yanir Gonzalez, went on Game Journals Pro, this not a conspiracy group, and asked, what he should do and stuff, and eventually ended up using Game Journals Pro to blacklist this guy, to pretty much just say, don't give him a job. Let's see here. Let's see. So, for me, a certain problem child has been reaching out to some of you. When do you think about there are a lot of problem children? Alistair. So, pretty much it looks like, oh, it wasn't used for anything bad, except blacklisting someone. Oh, it's okay because everyone does it. Yeah, no, that doesn't make it okay. Just because Sally Lou down the street can steal from Billy doesn't make it okay for you to steal from Billy too. I live in Philadelphia, home of the Pen and Pencil Club, a similarly private social club for journalists that's been in existence since 1892. This is where journalists from Philadelphia Inquirer, a newspaper that won 17 Pulitzers in 15 years, would get drunk with journalists from competing newspapers and discuss what else work. Can you prove it? I really don't think that when people get drunk, they talk about work in the way that you guys were talking about work on Game Journals Pro. Like, blacklisting people from group or deciding not to run articles. Usually when you're getting drunk, you're not going to be that horrible, actually. The existence of familiarity among the game press is an issue, but not for the reasons Gamergate would argue. It's an issue insomuch as it inhabits new and diverse voices from joining the fray. So, it just means that you're being what gamers are supposedly are, which are, bigoted, hateful, exclusive group that doesn't want anyone who doesn't fit into your little clique. Thanks for making us aware of that. I myself was taken to task by many people being attacked now over just an issue when we launched Polygon. And you know what? They were exceedingly right. But this isn't just an issue in the gaming press, it's an issue in journalism everywhere. Great! We're going to work on gaming journalism for now, if that's okay with you, Mr. Editor. Read this update from BuzzFeed's Ben Smith on how one of the fastest growing media companies is tackling this challenge. It's not you, so I don't care. So yes, we have taken accusation of ethical impropriety seriously, and still find the accusations up from Gamergate wanting. Oh, we're just starting. That brings us to Stop Gamergate 2014, a hashtag started by freelance writer Vindir Jubal on Tuesday night in response to a growing wave of threats against the industry. Oh, 3 women. Just 3. And one of them isn't even in the industry. She's a critic. That doesn't make you part of the industry. I can get online and be a critic of any video game I want. It doesn't make me part of the gaming industry. Ugh. She doesn't have a job in the gaming industry. It quickly trended on Twitter. Indeed, some of the people who've spoken out against Gamergate, both using the Stop Gamergate 2014 hashtag and otherwise, have filled the vacuums that sites like Polygon left, helping to make people comfortable speaking out against the abuse. Andy Bale discusses this here and points out for supporters of Gamergate who's yet to recognize the toxicity of their platform, their best hope is that the silent are secretly on their side. Let me go ahead and just take a look here, because I actually have a very nice thing. Here we have this very nice look here. Tweets per day, and you see taking away all of the feminist frequency and stuff. And earstop Gamergate. Whoop. Oh, look. And now it's nothing. That's what? 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So, and then 18 will probably be down here somewhere. So it didn't even last, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's barely lasted 5 days. Yep, great job there, guys. I know you're doing it to save the world. And you know what? Having been in the group for 2 weeks, I've seen much more toxicity coming against us than from us. So I'm not really feeling it. Since Polygon launched in 2012, we've been working hard, thanks to the efforts of our tireless moderation team, to engender a safe space for our readers, writers, and contributors. We have zero tolerance for racism, sexism, homophobia, transphobia, or any type of harassment or trolling on our site, which is laid out in our written community guidelines. While we've addressed aspects on our site of harassment that exists around it, we've been silent on Gamergate specifically. That ends today. Boom, boom, boom. Video games are changing. That's incredible! Exclamation mark. New technology, new devices, new marketplaces, new players. This is all transforming the entire world of video games under our collective feet. Oh my word. It's growing bigger. It's becoming more inclusive. This is a win-win scenario. Did you love The Last of Us? I don't think we'd have seen a character like Ellie just 5 years ago. 5 years ago, that's what, 2009? 2009, we had, oh, let's see, female main characters. We had, wasn't Mirror's Edge? Let me actually do a quick search. I'm just wondering. Mirror's Edge, when did that come out? Because I'm just wondering. 2008. 2008. We had Mirror freaking Edge. Oh, but we'd never see anyone like her. What about The Walking Dead? A game with an African American lead and a nuanced view of race. Oh, like, I don't know, Left 4 Dead? Oh, 2. It had 2 black people in it. Video games are capital C culture now. There won't be less attention, only more. There won't be less scrutiny. There certainly won't be less diversity in the fiction of games themselves or in the demographic of their players. That what we're in control of is how we respond to that expansion, as journalists, as developers, as consumers. Step 1 has to be the complete rejection of the tools of harassment and fear. We can't begin to talk about the interesting stuff while people are literally scared for their lives, which you're doing. Fear-mongering. I mean, who wants to play video games or join a community when people say it's toxic? You know, they hate these types of people, you know. Why would women want to join a sector of work when they're told that they hate all women? I wouldn't want to join anywhere if I was told that they hated all men. Dude, I'm not going to join that. That's crazy. Why would anyone do that? If we want to talk about harassment and fear, you know, let's talk about the harassment that, you know, people have been receiving from people on your side, Polygon. You know, the things slung about, which actually I have a nice little website right here. Gamergate harassment. Look at all of this. Proposal: kill all gamers, let the bodies rot and the bones to construct an enormous gate. Apparently, gay supporters of Gamergate are traitors and should just die. Yep. My abuse that I faced in high school is a joke to these people. I want to fucking kill myself. Gamergate. How about you actually kill yourself, scum? Go play Halo 2 for what seems like an eternity in your mind's final moment. Yep. So, why don't you guys work on your side and we'll work on ours? There can be no dialogue with a leaderless organization that both condemns and condones this behavior. We don't condone it. And here, let me show you. Here we have a post which I made about someone who was going ahead and doxing people. And when I put this out, I got 60 retweets actually really quickly. But look at all of these people getting really upset and annoyed and just being really tired of all of it. You know, this isn't something that one person was like, and this person was doxing people on both sides. And yet Gamergate pulled it together and went after him. Yep. We don't condone harassment. But you like saying that, don't you? I bet you guys don't condone harassment. You just ignore it. Attacks from the likes of Jack Thompson or Lind Yi only strengthen the resolves of gamers and unified our collective culture. But attacks from the inside that same culture have led to worldwide media condemnations, a toxic dialogue, and violent threats. Yeah. Okay. People don't feel safe in their own homes. Buy a gun. If you can't own a gun, then, I don't know, buy a security force or something. Let's face it, you know, all of the rich people have them, so obviously, you know, get someone to do security. If you don't feel safe in your home, do something about that. You know, maybe you shouldn't be, you know, what? I don't know. No one's safe in their own home. I can break into houses. I can, you know, I could probably find a gun on the black market, probably cheaper than I can find one on the non-black market. Get a gun, go and attack people randomly. I have no desire to, but I could. Boy, people would be really safe in their homes. You know, I'll buy a tank. Yeah. No need to jump at shadows of conspiracy or collusion, but we prove that there is conspiracy and there has been collusion. Gamergators, you've already unearthed the most damaging force in video games today. Yep, you guys. Christopher Grant, Editor-in-Chief. Well, Mr. Grant, I'm sorry to say, I disagree with your points a lot. And you guys seem to enjoy throwing out that, you know, Gamergate is toxic and filled with hatred, and yet I've met really nice people and really great people. So you seem to lack a lot of, you know, proof to support your arguments at all. But I'm sure that was just a miscommunication somewhere. Good luck next time, Grant, but until then, if you guys really want to take on Gamergate, we're going to take you down a notch. And that's okay. If you want to say, we don't like you, we think you're all toxic and evil, go ahead. Because I don't mind fighting against you, and I am willing to die on this hill. So that's really all I have to say on this entire piece here. I think that Polygon needs to go back and think about what they're doing a bit more, and maybe actually ask Gamergate. Just like get some people together off of Gamergate and just be like, what exactly can we do to be better? Maybe they should do that. Because it doesn't seem like they actually went in and asked anyone. Anyways, until next time, I'm Oath Alliance. This is the OathCast. And this has been me deconstructing polygons on Gamergate, a letter from the editor. Anyways, until the next time I spend an hour on this, then, till then, stay strong, game on, and have a good day.